Hey folks, I'm Pete, and this is Pete's Eats Cooking Videos. Today I have a real treat for you. We're making spring rolls, Thai spring rolls, and these are delicious. The thing I love about this recipe is there's really nothing exotic in it. It's all regular ingredients, but when you put it together, it tastes fabulous. You would think you're in a Thai restaurant. So let's begin. Here's what you're gonna need to make the spring rolls. First of all, for the filling, cabbage, onion, sweet potatoes, carrots, beans, and a little bit of garlic. We're going to shred it all up and fry it, soften it up, and now go in the spring roll wrappers. Now the spring roll wrappers, you have to get bona fide spring roll wrappers, not wonton wrappers. And I have two sizes here. I have the 5-inch squared and the 6-inch squared. And let's begin. I'll show you how to do it right now. To shred the cabbage up, the first thing I do is I take off as many of the dodgy leaves off the top. And then I cut the stem off. Now I'll cut it in half. And now I'm going to take this core out here. So I'm going to try and just chop that core out. Got the core out. And now maybe I'll chop it in half again. And then I'll just begin to shred it nice and thin. So the sweet potato, that's probably the trickiest one. And what you want to do is you want to sort of julienne it into little matchsticks. And the way I do it is I cut it in half and then cut this into little strips. And once I've cut these into the little strips, I'll then cut these pieces once again into sort of matchbook size pieces, and probably even cut those in half. So I'll just keep going until I do the whole yam. Okay, another great way to do the sweet potatoes is just to pile a bunch of those little pieces up and cut them on a skew, on an angle, and it's a lot more efficient than doing them onesies. To chop up the onion into small pieces, hey, watch my video on how to chop up an onion. To julienne the beans, well, I don't do it because it's too difficult to julienne a bean. So I just chop them into little rings and away we go. So now I'm going to fry up the filling for the spring rolls. So I've got my onion in the frying pan and I'll put a couple tablespoons of oil in there. That's probably about 3 or 4 tablespoons of oil. And I'm going to turn the stove on to sort of a medium high. And next I'm going to add my garlic. I'm going to put 3 cloves of garlic in, maybe 2.5 actually when I look at them. And that's crushed. And after the onion and garlic soften up a bit, then I'm going to add the sweet potato because it's the hardest and it takes the longest to soften up. I'm also going to add some spices, might as well do that right now. A little bit of pepper to your own taste. I like it peppery, so I'm going to add quite a bit. There you go. And salt. Now instead of salt, I do like this Herbamare mixture. It's a lovely organic mixture, very healthy. And so instead of salt, I'll use that. But you can use just plain old salt. And you do want to put quite a bit of salt because, you know, you have to flavor up the vegetables. So there you go. Now that the onion and garlic have softened up a bit, I'm going to add the julienne sweet potato. The sweet potato has had about a minute or two. Now I'm going to add the cabbage and the rest of the ingredients. Also the beans. And I'm also going to just pare off a bunch of strips of carrots. I'll do 2 or 3 carrots like this, and that'll be it. So it's been about 10 to 15 minutes now, and everything's softened up nicely. The next step is I really want to let this cool. You definitely don't want any moisture in there. It's important that you don't have lots of liquid. You want to get rid of as much moisture as possible. So I'm just going to let this cool for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll start rolling the spring rolls. Here are the spring roll wrappers. These are 5-inch square ones. You buy them frozen, and you need to take them out and let them thaw out before you use them. So we're going to use these 5-inch square spring roll wrappers, and we'll start rolling. Okay, so we'll put a little bit of filling in the center of the wrapper, close over the ends, wrap it up, And then put a little bit of egg wash at the end just to seal it up. And there you go. Now, you should do a whole bunch of these because you can freeze them. I like to put them in the freezer before I boil them, just for about 10 minutes, and then boil them up. And of course you can freeze a whole bunch of them and keep them in baggies and pull them out and make them up anytime you want. So make sure to make lots of extra and keep them frozen. So I'm going to put them in the oil now. The oil looks nice and hot. Well, that's great. They're going to bubble up. Put about half a dozen in. You don't want to put too many. And after that, when they're nice and brown, we'll pull them out and away we go. Those are going to be lovely. Don't they look excellent? All crispy and ready to be eaten. There you go. Tasty spring rolls. Crispy, delicious, easy to make, and make a ton and put them in the freezer so when you come home you can pull them out and fry up a batch anytime. Enjoy!